It's about showing up as you are on the day too, isn't it? Going through those, some days it's a great day, some days it's not so great, and why pretend on a not so great day that it is a great day? I mean, that's not really in alignment with being authentic. And this whole idea of loving the whole of yourself, the bits that are messy, the bits that are in the shadows, the masculine and the feminine.
I feel it's learning to embrace all parts of yourself, because so often there's this movement at the moment about, it's all about light and love, but we forget to talk about the shadows and the darkness. And if you don't actually accept those darker parts of yourselves and the parts that you want to hide, you're not whole and complete. You actually feel that you're broken.
When you're aware of yourself, all those things will follow, because you'll start asking yourself. Instead of us asking everybody else if they're okay, you'll start asking yourself, well, is this what I really want? What am I actually doing? What do I need? You'll bring it back to yourself. And then once you start bringing it back to yourself, that starts reflecting outwards.
It's been about learning how to be myself, how to really do those things instead of saying yes when I wanted to say no. Really being able to learn about setting good boundaries, learning to have my own voice.
In every moment we make a choice. In every minute, every breath is a new choice. And so we're making choices. The learning to live authentically, which I practice, and it's trial and error. Sometimes I totally fail and I make mistakes when I listen to my ego. But when you listen to your heart, that's where the truth is.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's discussion. You may have been watching our videos, but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have gained value from our conversations, from our channel, it would be so appreciated for us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now and even give us a like. What that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it also allows us to bring in even more guests for you to listen to. And you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's wonderful panel discussion. So welcome to our wonderful panel discussion. I'm really excited to be able to be here and to listen in to living authentically as a whole and complete woman. Of course, my name's Sophia from Sacred You. We have the honor of being able to host and present today's panel discussion, but truly grateful for the beautiful JENNYLEE Taylor, who is the facilitator for today, who's bringing this topic to have a wonderful discussion on how we can really be authentic, especially in today's world. And yes, I won't say too much more. JENNYLEE, I'm going to hand it over to you and I will be back at the end. So thank you ever so much.
Thank you, Sophia, and welcome to everyone. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. I think there were some people at 1 a.m. Thank you so much for joining us today, ladies, for this conversation. This topic is actually really dear to my heart because it was through getting to a stage in my life through feeling inauthentic that I created a big change in my life. It just got too much at a soul level to actually operate that way. Now I am a breathwork practitioner and trainer in Newcastle, New South Wales, 2 hours north of Sydney, and come across people all the time talking about women in particular, but some men too, coming in and they slump down and sit in the chair and go, I just want to be me. Why can't I just be me wherever I am in my workplace? Tonight we've got some beautiful women on who are we're going to talk through this topic for everyone's benefit, and maybe you will get something out of it. Not maybe, or hopefully you will get something out of it. So I'll just go around the room and get the women to introduce themselves. So Denise, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Denise. I live in the border of New South Wales and Victoria in the hot part of the state. In Finley, it's actually called, which is up from Tocumwal, if anyone knows that. But yeah, so grateful to be here and to be able to share what authenticity and being that whole and complete woman and what that looks like and how that I've done that with myself and the journey that it's taken. Like you said with yourself, how you came to a point with me, I came to a point as well when my first child was 12 and we were having lots of turmoil, chaos, all that sort of stuff. And I could see that the way I wasn't right. And that was the changing point for me. And I suppose I've been on that journey most the rest of my life so far. And I help people come and self-heal, help them see themselves, love themselves, and really be that whole and complete person that they've always been, but they've forgotten who that was because of all the stuff in between. So yeah, and I love doing that on a spiritual nature, on a human level, on a herbal level, on oils, because I think that's the whole of everything. It's just not one aspect.
Beautiful. Thanks, Denise. And there's a lot packed behind that word forgotten, isn't there? I'm sure we'll get into that as we progress. Hi, Catherine. It's nice to see you again. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, JENNYLEE. Yeah, so my name's Catherine and I'm Australian as well. You can pick our accents today. And I am a spiritual leadership coach, an intuitive healer, a podcaster, an author, and a speaker. And I help women reclaim their voices and their powerful no's so that they can actually live a life that's authentic to them and live their highest timeline. So I am definitely all on board the train for this one, JENNYLEE, and really about empowering, especially women. We get so steamrolled without even realizing and thinking it's okay. We fall into that people pleaser category. We say yes to everybody but ourselves as well. So this is where I feel there's this really important discussion that we need to have about when's enough. And for me, it was when my body actually started rebelling. It was my body that told me I can't keep doing this. And also this feeling of suffocating in my own life. Like I couldn't breathe because I was just truly not living the life I was meant to be living.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Catherine. Hi, welcome, LEEANN. Thanks for coming on today. Would you like to introduce yourself? You're muted.
Hi, I'm LEEANN. I live in Queensland. I have a variety of little tools in my toolbox, in that my first joyful discovery was yoga and yoga nidra. And without that tool in my toolbox, I wouldn't be here today. And my journey of my life has given me, I guess, little tools, and I turned my scars into stars. And I love to help. I love to help women be, I guess, more, to live their life with more, to live their life from their heart's desire. I have done 27 years of energy healing training. I've co-authored in 2 books. I've done a little bit of speaking and medical intuitive, and one of my deep loves is Art of Feminine Presence, which really made such a huge transformation in my life, and I love to share that with women as well. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm so happy to be here.
Wow, we've got some wisdom in the room, that's for sure. Thanks, LEEANN. Hi, Anik. Well, I hope I've said your right name okay. Thanks for coming on.
Annick. Yeah.
Anik.
Annick.
Okay.
French. The only French in
We're just introducing ourselves.
Yeah, I've heard everyone introducing themselves. My name is Annick Patry. I am in New South Wales, Australia. And I've been in the field of spirituality and personal development for probably about 30 years now. And my business is about empowering women, uplifting women to actually activate their joy, the inner joy, and actually embody the highest lucrative joy and own their creative power so that they can be paid to live their soul purpose in alignment. I've created a modality called voice tapping. So I do a lot of voice activations, voice work. And I'm really excited about this topic today because I think authenticity, being ourselves, is as simple as it sounds. It's one of the most challenging things. Undoing, unprogramming anything to come back to the truth of who we are and what we're here to express and create. So I'm really excited about the topic. So thank you for having me here.
Perfect. Great to meet you. Yeah. So I've got a couple we're going to start with some questions and we might go around. Catherine, what does being whole and complete as a woman really mean? It's an easy thing to say, but what does it actually mean to you?
Yeah, this is a deep question. Go right in there.
What does it look like for you?
I feel it's learning to embrace all parts of yourself because so often there's this movement at the moment about it's all about light and love, but we forget to talk about the shadows and the darkness. And if you don't actually accept those darker parts of yourselves and the parts that you want to hide, you're not whole and complete. You actually feel that you're broken. And it's when we accept that we're perfect just as we are. I always say imperfectly perfect. And, when we can accept that is when, that true healing actually begins because we accept every part of ourselves rather than trying to hide different parts or trying to keep things to the side or put those masks on. That's the other thing we're so good at doing is putting these masks on so that we appear to be okay when we're truly not. And there's all this talk as well at the moment about activating the feminine, but we forget there's a masculine side of us too. That when we find that balance, that is when we can be whole and complete. We still have to embrace that masculine. And that got me through years of running businesses, right? Like I had to be in the masculine. I had to step into that energy and step up and take on, don't get me wrong, I had to take on a lot of male pediatricians, like all these sorts of things. But at the same time, I neglected my feminine because it became all about that. And when I started to listen to my heart again and my intuition and reprogram myself to listen to my heart, check in with my gut, then check in with my head, that is when I started to feel more whole and complete. And some days I don't feel whole and complete, and that's okay. That's just where I am on that cycle, where I am on my journey. And then other days I'm like, yeah, I got my crap together today. I can do it. And it just depends, and that's life. It depends what's happening around you. It depends on your energy. If you have children, it's how well you've slept at night. But it's showing up at 100% of whatever percentage you've got to give that day. And that is when you can say, I feel that you're whole and complete. And then we're not even touching on the whole like sexuality side of things and everything like that. That's a whole other final discussion, I feel. It's about being able to wear the clothes that you want to wear or dress the way you want to dress and not second guessing that because it's, oh, what would other people think of me? And stepping out of that people pleaser role and always saying yes to what everyone else expects of you. And instead, if you want to wear two different Crocs or two different earrings, go for it. Do it. I have a friend like that. She wears different shoes and different earrings. And first it was like, whoa, did you get dressed in the dark today? But she did it on purpose. And that was her way of expressing her vibrancy. And I was like, okay, fair enough. In the end, it's being able to own all parts of yourself and not ignoring the bits and not hiding any parts of yourself. And sometimes that can be the deepest work you can do to go and dive into the shadows and see what comes out at the other side.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about it's about showing up as you are on the day too, isn't it? Going through those, some days it's a great day, some days it's not so great. And why pretend on a not so great day that it is a great day? That's not really in alignment with being authentic. And this whole idea of loving the whole of yourself, the bits that are messy, the bits that are in the shadows, the masculine and the feminine. And I had to laugh with myself when you talked about Crocs and wearing different shoes because I've discovered Crocs and I absolutely love them. I'm the biggest Crocs with socks in winter type person. And I've also accidentally worn two different shoes to so that's hilarious. So thank you so much.
It's better than me, JENNYLEE. One day I completely forgot my shoes, so that was a fun day.
I love that too. Yeah. Okay, great. And so, Denise, do you think there was a critical moment you mentioned earlier about the beginning of your story, a critical moment? You don't need to go into the whole story, but when you realized you weren't living authentically, and what stopped you, and what did you do about it after that?
Yeah, for me it was like I said, my young boy, who's the eldest of all the children, he was going through some things, and I say kids are a great reflection for us. So it made me have to take a really good look at myself. And it was the pinnacle. I can always even look back from there, I can see points of where I was asking questions of myself. You get drawn back into as we say, it's the normality of living, what we've been conditioned to. So I would just put it back down again. But at this point, I couldn't put it back down. I really had to take a really good look at myself and how I was showing up and what was coming out of me on my expression, how I talked, how I reacted or didn't react, all those sort of things, and really looking deep within myself, because it was easy to blame everything else around me because that was all going wrong, but it actually comes from me because I'm the one who's not handling it. So it really allowed me to really take a good look at where I was coming from, which is the shadow of everything, is that dark place, is actually seeing the truth of myself and actually having to look at that and really hold myself in that. And in the beginning, it was holding myself in that with real judgment. But then as time go on, just really going, oh, okay, because of all of this, hold myself with love and compassion instead. Once I started doing that, I was able to move through and see things from a different perspective, from love and gratitude for myself instead of hate and shame and all that sort of stuff. So it was really navigating through that, but that was the true catalyst that undid everything. But like I said, I can see points that led right up to that, and I just wasn't prepared to look at it then. So it was me taking take a look at yourself in the mirror and really see what's coming back, and really taking on those tough things that you don't really want to see about yourself, because they're there to help you change what you're doing, help you see yourself, to even ask the question, do I really want to do it this way? Do I really want to be this person? Because that didn't feel like me. I always felt reactive in everything. So it really turned that around. But like I said, it was about me having to go into the dark places to actually move through them, to see the gifts, and they are gifts on the other side, through it, to take out on the other side. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really about turning around to face yourself, isn't it? There's a couple of things that you said in there that are really great philosophies, I think. And one is the world is your mirror, that your children were a reflection. They were reflecting back to you what you were inside and you didn't like it. So to actually recognize that, and then as the world outside of you being the reflection of who you really are, it's a big concept. And also the fact that you, once you did get to that point, and I'm talking about the greater you here, collectively it's in my story as well, once you do get to that point and realize that you're actually not in alignment who you are deep inside, but there was all these breadcrumb signs that oh duh, I could have figured that out 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but
Yeah,
there's all
absolutely.
these signs.
And that's the thing, and not going, oh, damn it, I've missed out on so much. No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I just did it differently.
yeah, and it's all part of how you got to that point anyway. It's all part of our growth.
Yeah, yeah.
Leanne, welcome. And what does it mean to be whole and complete to you? And was there a critical point in time that was like the big Mack truck, or was it something more subtle? Okay.
I think for me, it's been about learning how to be myself, how to really do those things instead of saying yes when I wanted to say no, really being able to learn about setting good boundaries, learning to have my own voice. I grew up in a rural area, which I lived on a farm, so I had not a lot of experience in the big wide world, as I was not very street smart, and so I was very quiet. So learning about boundaries, and I knew inside myself that there was this pull, always this pull for more for myself, more for me to be. And I always had this wonderful connection to my spirit self or my spirit team. And I guess to be authentically me was to learn to be really comfortable with that and learn all of the other bits about the difficult times, the darkness that I went through, the depression and things that happened when I lost my baby twins was probably a very big pivotal moment in my journey of really going, okay, what am I going to do with this now, this whole grief situation? And I had my spirit team guiding me and my heart wanting to do so much that it was a really big, beautiful time of discovery about authenticity. And from that moment on, I guess there was even still little things that happened or big things that happened to really keep me going about that authenticity, about say no when you mean no and yes when you mean yes, because I was really bad at that. I was a really good people pleaser. And when I look back now, age has also given me the gift. Like when I turned 60, there's something happens when you turn 60, and then there's something happens when you turn 65. That's such a gift of that. Okay, I get to now, for me, this is how it was for me, that now everything changed around me, everything changed within me, and I got to be somebody different, somebody with a different little map. If that makes sense to you, you may
absolutely makes sense to me.
Talking about.
I turned 60 this year, and there's something that happens in the universal field about that. It's really stepping into your authenticity. But I'm imagining there's a lot of women watching and going, oh man, I hope I don't have to wait that long. And Anik,
and perhaps they don't, but there is really something.
It is special.
I could imprint that on younger women, just look forward to that day.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm
really
totally
cool.
with you. Yeah, with you there. But it's interesting that everyone's talking about not having a voice, and this idea of there's a tendency as people pleasers and to say yes when you mean no, or not to speak up at all, or to be the peacekeeper, or to do whatever it is to tone ourselves down. I don't know what it is, but something about women in particular who do that. Anik, seems to be your area or your area in terms of your voice tapping. Did you want to just speak to the turning down of the voice that is inauthentic?
What's your question?
So the question is, I guess it's, can you draw any insights from your own journey or your journey with the people you work with around living authentically as a whole and complete woman and using your voice? What is it about what makes us turn our voice down in the first place? And how do we get around that?
Yeah, that's a powerful question. I guess, first of all, human beings, we chose to have a human experience and we chose to have a sexy women body, but the conditioning and the programming around that is really be pretty, smile, don't be too loud, don't do, you know what I mean? There's a lot of conditioning around not to disturb the statu quo, not to make too much noise, not, if we believe in past lives where apparently they used to burn us and cut our heads, or if we, and even growing up, the education I've received was to not speak truth, to be polite and not to disturb. And there was a lot of things that I've experienced that were quite disturbing, and they were a big fat no for me, a big fat FUCK no. And I was raised in not embodying, and not in an empowering way to say yes, to say no, to say this is my truth, this is not my truth, and this is absolutely no. You don't come in my bubble. You're not welcome there. And I made that my life's work. I used to have a speech impediment. I was super shy. I was insecure I was not confident, all that kind of jazz. Like this is not me. This is the conditions around me that I took on board, and I became that person. But now I am myself, and myself is like we voice what's going on. We express our desires. We express. Someone, Catherine, I think, was talking not much, but she mentioned about sexuality, expressing our desires, sexual desires, and monetizing our business. Like a lot of women still a lot of us in the spiritual area are still very wobbly around charging and really saying, this is what you're going to experience. This is the transformation that you're going to experience in my container. And this is the value of it. And this is the price tag of it. And really owning and embodying and voicing it and living it. Do you know, there's steps, like, and as I speak, my spine is just becomes straighter and straighter. So yeah, it's the whole journey of you think it, you voice it, you do it, you live it, and you become it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. I was watching you get taller and taller and increasing. And that's what happened. That's answering that question of what does it mean to be whole and complete as a woman? It means you're standing up there, you're standing in your power, you know who you are, you're confident to speak about your desires and needs and wants, and confident to say no when you need to say no. But you know, all these things you do with compassion, of course. It's not about negating anyone else. It's just about standing in your own power with people, not over people, and not being stood over. Yeah. Does anyone just want to just take that conversation a bit further? That whole idea of what it means to be whole and complete in general? What does it feel like energetically? What would be an example of you being whole and complete where you wouldn't have done that before?
I feel for me, it's actually realizing that you can be at peace and be in flow, and that sometimes it's okay just to do nothing. And for someone that went through burnout, panic attacks, all that fun things, because I kept pushing and pushing, the act to just rest and do nothing was a massive thing for me to get to. And I feel, especially as a woman, we forget that we're cyclical beings, and that especially with like our cycles being a little bit younger, like our menstrual cycle, I know that I need to rest sometimes and sometimes I don't, but I have to listen. And the more I respect that, the more energy I have, instead of just being drained and trying to push through the whole thing. And the same, we have different seasons of life. And to respect that as well, like maybe this is the season where you're planting lots of seeds, putting yourself out there, getting all these contacts and connections, or maybe you've done all the seeds, you've done all the work, and you have to wait. It's not, people use the apple tree analogy. You're not going to go dig up the seeds to make sure they're growing, right? You actually have to wait and see what's happened. But that is when you can rest and take stock, because then when it starts growing, it gets to harvesting. And then I feel the other part that I've had to really learn is to celebrate myself and to celebrate the things I have accomplished, because I forget to celebrate it and just move on to the next thing and the next thing. And that was that hustle living and culture had created for myself, like running a business and being a workaholic and all those fun things. But at the same time, that didn't fulfill me. That didn't make me complete. Like today, I always felt more complete and whole sitting there and baking with my son and making dinner for my family than I did making sure that I was looking after 300 clients, like across the clinic. This is where we get that balance in remembering that what our whole and complete feels like. And I always say, what is your truth? What is your truth? And go after your truth, because don't get sucked into someone else's truth because you might be like admiring them or inspired by them. Come back to what is true for you, because that allows you to be authentic and shine your true self through.
Yeah, and a big part of that is also, thank you for that, is also you taking out the comparison factor altogether. Stop comparing yourself to anyone else because you're unique. What's whole and complete for you is different for other people. I'm sure there are people out there who would not be wearing Crocs and socks like I do. And I love the comment about resting when you need to rest, particularly as a high achiever out there doing life, burning themselves out type person, and always having to do something to feel valued. That's really hard for that sort of person to just stop and go, today I need to rest. And that's valuable in itself. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thanks for that, Catherine. Denise, did you want to draw any insights from your journey, or from the journey, or from just some observations you've made with people you work with? What is it that stops people from being whole and complete as a woman and living authentic?
That's a really good question. I think people fear that it's going to be really hard and that they're going to be in pain, and that seeing the truth of themselves, and no one wants to see the truth of themselves. No one wants to see that side of themselves, that they are in pain, or they have been terrible, or they've got stuff they're hanging on to that they don't want to let go of. We think we know peace, but we actually don't. When we live in that space, we're just living in, I think it's not fear. To me, it's survival. Because I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to keep up with everything else that's outside of me. And I've left myself behind. So I don't really know myself anymore. And I think that's the biggest thing. When someone says, "Who are you?" a lot of people say, "I don't know. I just don't know." Because they've forgotten who they were. They forgot the child within themselves. They've left the child over here in the turmoil and forgot to bring the child along. When we're bringing our child along, we're actually looking at everything. We're aware of everything about ourselves, because the child is the one who goes through everything first. And we just carry that baggage with us. We carry that pain, that shame, that abandonment. We carry all of that with us, and we don't know that we are until we know it. And it takes something, unfortunately, it takes the catalyst, something catastrophe that can make us stop and wake up. Like I said, for myself, with my children, or accidents, or loss, or that's what makes us stop and go, whoa, I really want to see we look at mortality, and we go, oh, where am I? Am I in my life? Am I really here, or am I over there where I've lost myself? And that's it. It always comes back to I've lost myself. And if you can't answer who am I, you're still lost. And that's an uncovering in itself. And I feel that even though we know that and we want to move out of that, it is everything that the child is still feeling that comes up that stops us. So
shame, abandonment, and all that's about being in survival, isn't it? And
absolutely, total survival.
It starts at a young age, and what we have to do is switch ourselves off, or turn ourselves down in order to survive in life.
And we name it as fear.
Yeah.
Because fear to me is that we can still fear something, but we can still shift and we can still move. When we're in survival, we can't, because we don't know which way to go. So we stay in survival. This is what I know. Even though it's still painful and it's horrible, I'd rather stay here because I don't know what it's going to feel like out there.
And that's what these panel discussions are about, to give, trusting that people see the breadcrumbs before they have to go through that. So
yes,
if any of this conversation is resonating with you now, then it might be the opportunity to go, hang on, let's have a look at this a bit closer before you get to the...
And you say that too. And our biggest gift that I feel like I have, that I feel for myself, and I hope everyone feels for themselves, is awareness. Really become aware of yourself. You know, what we're thinking, what we're saying, because our thoughts manifest.
Yes. Yeah.
So whether it's good or bad, it has no bias. If you're not coming from heart to head, if you're only going from head, it's not biased.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Leanne, did you want to add to that, or you can keep going on from that thread, or what are some insights that you've had of working with people on what stops people from being authentic? I know it was not one of the questions, but it can go on there. Yeah.
As I was listening to Denise, I was thinking back over some people that I have worked with, and how one of the questions that sometimes I get to with them is, what do you love? And how sad it is to witness that they've forgotten to even know what to love, and say, what food do you love to eat? And it's nothing comes. It's like that real disconnect of, what do I love? And I then have deeply encouraged them to pick 3 things. What do you love? Oh, sorry. And I'm just busy, John. And I have, this disconnection from that love. So in survival, you can't really connect to that, what do I love, because it's not there. So that was what I wanted to share about that, how important that was for my clients to realize that I can't answer that question. So that was about moving into awareness, moving into discovery. How can I find that? What little steps now can I move toward to move myself along? Just find one thing, I would say.
That's fantastic. I love that, because often working with people, even on myself, it's what is it that I used to love to do that I don't do anymore, and why? And that was a big question for me personally. Anik, did you want to just go in, since we're going into, what are some of the things that you've seen that your tips for strategizing and starting to live authentically as a whole and complete woman? What do people need to do? What do we as women need to do?
Yeah, people have to do nothing. No, it's not about doing.
Yeah.
It's about being. It's about showing up in the flow as you move through life. And life is so intelligent that life would present you with the right clients, the right colleagues, the right people, the right lovers, the right circumstances to show you what lives inside of you and how you navigate it, and to keep making choices, because we make choices in every moment. We make a choice in every minute. Every breath is a new choice, and we're making choices. And so the learning to live authentically, which I practice, and it's trial and error. Sometimes I totally fail and I make mistakes when I listen to my ego. But when you listen to your heart, that's where the truth is. When your heart is open and you dive in and you listen to your big, booming, sacred heart, your soul. When you listen and you make choices, you make decisions based on the truth of your heart, you can't go wrong. Is it easy? No. Is it comfortable? Not always. But that's the practice. So if you ask me, the doing is the practice to tune into your essence, your heart, the love that lives within yourself, to really tune in and to practice to make choices according to what your heart wants. Heart's desires, your soul desires, and that will take you on the path of consciousness, a path of evolution, a path of authenticity, a path of truth, and that's where you want to live.
And I love that you said practice, because it is exactly that, isn't it? Because we may have had a lifetime or lifetimes of being shut down or turned down or in our authenticity. So it does take practice to change. And we didn't get where we are now overnight. It was an evolutionary process. Keep practicing, keep doing. The more you feel and live from the heart, the more you get the felt sense of what it's like to do that. And then the world becomes a reflection of you, as Denise said. So then you just keep going with that. Yeah, it's giving yourself those little wins. But I feel like there'd be a lot of people, Catherine, who in that moment of saying, what I really want from my heart is this, and then the yes, I'll do it the way you want it comes out of their mouth. So how do they flip that around, do you think?
This is the power of the pause, because we're so reactionary. Like, it's like we automatically default to who we think we should be. And this is the thing with people pleasers, when we've been that way for so long, and I can attest to this, when we've been that way for so long, we just default to this version of ourselves, even though it feels really out of alignment. And the more you learn to tune into your intuition, for me, when it's a hard no now, I want to vomit. And if I go to try and say something against that, I know I'm going to be sick. Like, I feel like I'll actually throw up. And I know if it's definitely in alignment, I get goosebumps, but it's because I've kept listening to myself to a point that I can and do that. So I teach a lot of my clients, and I remember this myself, is to pause. When your child says something to you that pushes your buttons, because kids are big mirrors, like Denise was pointing on, they mirror things, but they're also little emotional radars. If you're in a bad mood, they will come after your bad mood and make it worse. So, this is where you pause and you think, okay, hang on, the old me or the way I've been taught to react is this way. But if I ask in this moment, right here, right now, what is this teaching me, and how can I respond from a place that's more aligned from me? It changes everything. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not respond at all. So just last week, I did this. I sent a message to somebody that wasn't in alignment with me anymore, basically saying thank you, but no thank you. I'm moving on. And the message I got back made me so angry. I'm not going to lie. Made me really pissed off and felt really disrespected. And I went to reply, and then I heard, do not reply. I was like, oh, I don't have to do anything. And sometimes that is the most powerful move in itself. Even I was listening to this interview, it was like a really powerful CEO, and someone asked him, what do you do if someone disrespects you in the boardroom? And he said, nothing. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I sit there in silence. I don't react. I don't do anything. And I sit there. And they go, then what happens? He goes, a few things. We move on and we get onto the business. After that slight little dig at me or whatever, the person profusely apologizes, or there's just this awkward silence that hangs in the room. But either way, I have stayed in my power. And this is what it comes back to, is when you can use that pause and create that space for yourself, it allows you to stop reacting as much. And the other thing, as Anik was touching on, is that you have to practice and you have to keep doing it. And you have to relearn these habits and relearn behaviors. Like, habits take 22 days before you get a new habit. And that's not even established. That's just you get into a new habit. So often we give up before that point, and we forget to say yes and no's. And Anik was saying as well, I so resonated with it, make a decision. Just make a decision, because the more you sit in this decision and not make a decision, the more you're going to actually lose all your energy to the situation. Like, how often do we lose sleep over something because we wish we would have said that, or we should have done something different, or we don't have an answer. We don't know what the answer is. Just make a decision and move on. Then you make another decision and you move on. And the quicker you do it as well, the less it sucks your energy. And that's something, being someone that's been so busy all the time. And people go to me, you're so busy. And I'm like, I actually don't feel busy, but my contrast is like running a business and everything like that. But I still run a business, but not the extremes I used to. But at the same point, it's finding that balance within yourself that you can go, okay, what do I say yes or no to? And then make a decision and move on. And if you need more time, just give yourself a time limit. Okay, I'm going to make a decision by tomorrow about this, or I'm going to get the information that I need and then make a decision. So then you can put a pause in, but you're also building trust, and honor that and honor your own word. That was the other thing. Back at the start, we were talking about we put masks on and we don't often speak our truths. How often when someone says, "How are you?" you say, "I'm good," without even thinking about it. That is like the worst thing you can do. You're dishonoring yourself because you're saying, "I'm good. Quietly inside, I'm dying and I really need someone to help me right now, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm okay." And no one will know. Sometimes, like, the biggest thing with mental health is that people don't talk about it. So if you're saying I'm good all the time, people don't know the contrast. For me, I just say I'm okay. Actually, I've got a pain in my back today. It's really painful, but I'm showing up 100% at my 20%, and that's okay. Learning to do that, because the more you speak your truth, the more you respect yourself, and then you honor yourself, and then you can really listen to who you are.
Yeah, brilliant. I love the pause, and my way of pausing is just take a breath and change your state for a start. But this idea of saying no, full stop, putting a full stop at the end of the sentence instead of a comma, more to go. It's actually standing in the full stop and then zipping it up and going, I actually don't need to engage in anything past this. Unless it's actually, no, I don't need to engage in anything past this. It's because we all know, or I know I've seen lots of examples out there in the world all the time, when someone pushes your button and then this email shot straight off, it goes around the office or something like that, and you think, oh wow, and then it just seems to accelerate. And rather than being able to stand there and say, no, this is how it is for me, and for me, I just go, this is how it is for me. And I'm sorry, in my mind, I'm going, you just need to work out how that affects you. Yeah, brilliant. So much in that. Thank you, Catherine. Something you did mention at the end that I was thinking about.
Honor
Denise?
yourself.
Yeah, honor yourself. That's right. Yeah. And it's really about backing yourself, isn't it? And because you make a decision in the moment, what is right or wrong anyway, the next moment is another point where you could make a different decision. But this whole energy around procrastination can be really energy draining, and then you finally arrive at something. I'm a little bit like that because I'm quite a deep thinker. So sometimes I just need to sit with it for a bit and go, what is it that I want to be doing here, and checking in with myself. But yeah, did you want to follow on from that, Denise?
Yeah, that was great, Catherine. Thank you. And I had it just a moment ago. It was about when you're aware of yourself and you allow that awareness, all those things will follow, because you'll start asking yourself instead of us asking everybody else if they're okay. And what are you doing? That's crazy. You'll start asking yourself, is this what I really want? What am I actually doing? What do I need? You'll bring it back to yourself. And then once you start bringing it back to yourself, that starts reflecting outwards. That's how you'll add, because when you're doing it, you go out into the world and you'll do it anyway. And I love how nothing we decide to do is wrong. The universe will show us, oh, you're just a bit over here. I need you to come back over here. So, that your intuition will tell you, oh, yeah, no, I made that decision, but I don't really like that now. That's not really sitting with me. And that's the thing, that's the pause, isn't it? See how it sits, feeling how it sits, and then do. It's because usually what we do is we do it, and then the feeling comes afterwards. So it's about how it's making those decisions by seeing how it fits on me and then making it, and see what sits true for you. And I think When you keep bringing it back to yourself, your intuition grows stronger. You start realizing what you want. You start seeing those things that are stopping you, holding you back, whatever. They'll all come to the forefront because you're taking that responsibility upon yourself to see yourself. So everything then rises to the top and say, hey, what about this? And yes, it does get uncomfortable. Some are really quick. Some can take quite some time. But if we hold ourselves in love and compassion, we'll get to the truth of everything for ourselves.
And this piece about taking responsibility, because the fact is that we are, as individuals, the common denominator in our lives. Doesn't matter what interaction we're having, the thing that's common is us. So if you're getting things that you don't like in life, then it's really about having the awareness to go, what role am I playing? What part am I playing in that, and taking responsibility for that as well.
Absolutely.
And once you...
not the perfection doesn't give us the thrill. It's the messiness that shows us the thrill of life.
Yeah.
Because in the messiness, that's where all the magic lies. Is how I get to know myself, to see myself, to honor myself, to be who I actually want to be. When there's perfection, I'm to the script of everybody else. I'm not running a script at all. I'm like in survival, numbness, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely true. And I feel like there's a whole other discussion we could have about intuition and how to tap into intuition. But particularly that was the first thing I noticed that was completely switched off when I was in a very male-dominated industry and had to use my masculine a lot just to do things and also to survive in that industry, which I loved, incidentally. I'm not knocking it at all. Yet when I realized that I was actually an out of sorts feeler and an out of sorts intuitive living in this world, that's when my big crisis moment came on. Yeah. Thank you so much, ladies. We'll be wrapping up shortly around this conversation. Is there any last comments you want to make or anything you want to say? Maybe we'll start with you, Leanne, as we'll go around again.
I think one of the major points that I focused on in my journey was like really know myself so deeply that when I was triggered, oh, this is how I'm going to react. And I started doing this big inventory of discovery. And we can look at our star sign, we can look at, what is it? I can't think of the word, but I looked up gene keys today and somebody mentioned gene keys. And I went, oh, when I was reading it, it was like, that's me. Like really knowing myself. What is the other one? The manifesting generators and all that. What's that called?
And design you're talking about.
Yeah, human design. Of all of those things just helped me to put a mark about, oh yeah, that could be why I react like that, or that could be, plus all the childhood and the growing up, but to really know myself. And that for me was a beautiful step.
And that's a great step. And just for everyone out there, there's so many ways you can do that. Everyone on this call has got a methodology or a way that you can be supported in getting to know yourself from the inside out, because that's what brings peace and harmony at the end of the day. So my encouragement is always to find somebody that resonates with you, to do the work on the inner work on yourself, to find and to know yourself inside out. Give them a chance to work with you for a little while, because I know in my area, one of the things that frustrates me a lot is that people want a one-off fix, and it doesn't work that way. And then they bounce around between people and don't really get what they need. And we're in this industry, we're all carers, and we all want people to grow and change and not have to come back to us. So give people a chance to help you with that. And it might be multiple people on your journey as well, because you need different things at different times. Anik, is there one last thing you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Is that me? Yeah, what I'd love to say, what I'd love to share is it's really, How can I phrase it? We know a lot more than we give ourselves permission to. We know the truth. We know in our heart, we know in our body, we know what is right for us. And you know what's misaligned. We know it. So our practice is really to listen and to dare to be bold. Like when there's a big life is calling you to take space, life is calling you to be more of yourself, to show up in a bigger way, to play bigger, because it's a big playground here. Let's face it, we're not here, we're not martyr, we're not here to suffer, we're not here to endure, we're not here to please. We're here to create. We're creatrix, we're creators. We're here to create and play and explore and discover. And we've got to be willing also to not be perfect and make mistakes. We've got to be willing to fall and tumble and sometimes make the wrong turn and then come back on track. We've got to be willing. You have to have a willingness to say, it's okay. If I don't go in the right direction, then I'll come back. I may make a detour. Today, I wanted to be here 5:15, Australia and US Southwest. Okay, I turned on my phone in the car. I was nearly there, but it's fine. It's all good. I'm here. I'm sharing my voice. And it's really great. I'm learning a lot from all the women here, all the leaders here, and I'm sharing powerful message. And it's perfect. You know what I mean? It's wonderful. I get to play with my sisters and I get to explore. We haven't rehearsed this conversation, this panel discussion. We haven't met before and say, oh, you got to say that and move that way and put that makeup. And do you know what I mean? We haven't rehearsed like a big play theater where people pay hundreds of dollars to go see a play. They rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. There's no place for making mistakes, for expanding, for being real. Do you know what I mean?
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. I know what you mean. And thank you for reminding me about one of the keys is giving yourself permission just to be you. How many of us, in the general word of us, that's all we have to do, really. Give yourself permission to be you. And then experiment. Like Anuk's saying, it's a big world to play in, and it can be rich and beautiful and exciting and crazy and scary and all those things at the same time. But that's what life's about. Hey? Yeah. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Pleasure, treasure. So fun. Oh, did you see my lips moving and nothing coming out? Catherine, what would you like to share as the last something before we wrap up? We're just going a little over time.
Yeah, I have this saying that I put on my website too, which is you're never too young or too old to be reacquainted with your soul. Because so often we forget that we can make a change at any point in our life, at any point in our day. Because even if you go to a tarot reader, a channeler, an intuitive, whatever, as soon as you walk out that door and you have new information, you can choose to be the change you want to see in your life. And this is why we've got talk about timelines and all these crazy things, which is again a whole nother panel discussion. But you always have your ability to make a choice, and you always have divine will. You can always choose how you want to show up, and that includes you can choose to change. And it can be something very little. It might be, instead of automatically saying yes, do that conscious pause and think, okay, do I want to say yes to this? And then the next day you might be like, okay, yesterday I paused. Today I'm actually going to vocalize my no and actually do that. And then slowly make all these little changes and take these little micro risks, because courage is something that you build upon. It's not something that comes automatically. And that's something we need to remember, is courage is a skill that you build. And the more little risks that you take, you get to a point and you think, oh, I might as well just go all in anyway. I'm just going to throw it all in and know that I've put it all on the table. For me, I'm like, I'm going to do everything I need to do in this life because I don't want to incarnate and do it again. That's me. I'm like, stop that. But at the same time, This is the beauty, that you can always learn more about yourself. You can always choose to find someone to support you. And if you're not in an environment that is supportive or that is allowing you to be whole and complete exactly as you are, leave. And it might not be that simple, but make a plan to do it, because the more steps you take away from that, the more the universe will back you and go, great, she's ready for the change now. She's ready to make these steps to become the true version of herself, and we're going to support her to do it. And it does work like that. I've done it many times, and things just fall in alignment, because if you're meant to make that change and you've had all the things in front of you, you can listen to what your inner voice is saying and actually do that as well.
Yeah. And with courage comes fear sometimes. Yeah, great. And lastly, Denise, and then I'll invite Sophia back on.
Yeah, feel the fear and do it anyway, as they say, isn't it? And that's what's required, is our action. And that's the only thing, is that be okay. What I really wanted to say was, be okay with whatever comes. When you think and speak, it will go out into the universe, and the universe will deliver you exactly that. So being mindful and open to receive what is here for you. Being mindful and thinking from the heart space and using the mind and your action to go out and do, or to sit and ask yourself the questions. I think questioning ourselves is such a beautiful way to really know ourselves. We ask kids lots of questions. We ask other people lots of questions. So why aren't we asking ourselves those same questions? We make our children accountable. We make other people accountable, make ourselves accountable. And just ask, why am I doing that? Ask, do I really want that? Don't I want that? No, I don't. Have that courage to say no. All these ladies have said so many beautiful things that it all ties in, and allow yourself to experience you. Because as Anik said, we all have it within us. We've just forgotten it. And the more that we go in and unravel, I suppose is a nice word, unravel, we get to see more of it, more of that, and more of that will also show up for ourselves. Go and be gentle, be kind. It gets ugly, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Embrace it all. Because then you'll see the magnificence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great word to end on, magnificence, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you so much, you beautiful women. And I'd like, yeah, if Sophia's in the background, can you come in and wrap up for us? Thanks.
Of course I can. I've been listening to this incredible discussion. It's been wonderful. I just want to thank everyone for being here. Before we leave, Jenny, tell me about you. What does living authentically mean for you?
Oh, wow. It actually means all of the things that the women have talked about tonight, but mainly being really clear about who I am, and not worrying about, and just getting my voice, stating what it means to be me. I'm very clear. In the past, I would not say something. I was very timid with my voice, but now I just say it with compassion, and I own my own stuff and take responsibility from myself. And when you start doing these things, life just flows. It takes so much energy to not be yourself. Would you agree? It just takes so much energy to not be yourself. So life is a lot freer, a lot more flowing. I feel more joyous, at peace. All those things come with being whole and complete and living authentically. Thanks for asking, Sophia.
And thank you, and I totally agree for that. And we definitely use up a lot more energy when we try and be other people. We try and live other people's lives, or what we think that they think that we should be doing. Yes. Let's just be our true selves and have so much more energy. So thank you. And for everyone who's listening or watching, whether it's live or on our replay, do click on the links below that have been posted to connect with all these wonderful women. Reach out to them, have a conversation. They've just given up a little bit more than over an hour of their time to share their wisdom about living authentically. And Catherine, I'm going to put you on the spot, because you are, of course, the host of the Empowered Entrepreneurs Tribe. Tell us how you bring being authentic into being an entrepreneur.
We just tell it how it is, isn't it? And this is the beautiful thing about the group that I run on a Monday. It's a Sunday, I think, in American time. But at the same time, we bring our failings and we bring things that worked and didn't work. And we give that feedback, because when you're afraid of failing, you're never going to achieve anything. It's like that Wayne Gretzky quote, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Because if you never try, if you never attempt to do it and learn from those mistakes or learn from those failures or learn from the things that don't work, then you're never going to grow your business. And your business is a reflection of you. So if you allow yourself to grow and you find people that allow you and support you and go, yeah, that's amazing, that worked for you. And it's okay, this is what worked for me or didn't work for me. And then you don't have to do the mistakes other people have done as well. And this is what I really love about the group on Mondays. We just come in and we play it. We put it all on the table and we just say, hey, this is working, this isn't working. I found this didn't work. This was a terrible platform. And this is the beauty of being authentic in your business, is you can share that openly and not be embarrassed by it or feel like it's something wrong when something doesn't work.
Absolutely, and I totally agree. And I'm honoured that you facilitate the Empowered Entrepreneurs Tribe. And for everyone who is watching, while you're checking out all the links below for these amazing women, do come and join us or check out sacredyou.love. Join us for free by putting /join free. Come and check out our village, because we've got so much coming up. Next, in a couple of days for our panel discussion, we've got gratitude and grounding. And then the beautiful Jenny will be back in about 8 days' time, 9 days' time, something like that, for becoming whole, reclaiming the fragmented soul, which I'm really looking forward to. So thank you, Jenny, for bringing that. Plus, of course, we've got our wisdom circles, archetype circles, and so much more. So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Truly, true honor. And we will see you next time.